Hey everybody, and welcome to this month's edition of the Two Southern Susans in the Lowcountry Book Club. We're going to be talking with Alicia Bessette here shortly about her book, Smile Beach Murder. I know a lot of you have read and enjoyed. We certainly have. But we want to talk just for a minute as we sip our champagne and while our tea steeps about this book in sort of a general sense, because it is a cozy mystery, which many of us enjoy in addition to the women's fiction that we read. And Susan and I were just talking about how it seems like there are a lot more cozy mysteries now that are getting a lot of attention. And we were talking about the Finley Donovan series,
Yes.
which is geared more towards younger readers, I think. And then one of my favorites, the Richard Osman series, The Thursday Murder Club, which of course is geared towards more mature audiences.
Yes.
But anyway, and Susie was just saying something about the setting as well.
Yes, and it just seems to me that a number of novels recently have used bookstores as their central setting, and that's a cozy setting, and it's coming in combination often with the mysteries. One that I just love is Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore by Robin Sloan, and it is a gripping, page-turning mystery, believe me. And another, not so much a mystery, but a very enjoyable book is Patty Callahan Henry's The Bookshop at Water's End. And a third one that I've not read, it's an older book that I've just discovered, 84 Charing Cross. And wonderful, I might watch the movie first if I don't get to the book. Wonderful movie made in 1987, I'm told, with Anthony Hopkins, Judi Dench, and Anne Bancroft. So something to look up.
With that cast, I will be watching that movie, and I'll probably read the book too. But thank you for those suggestions. All right, so we are going to have a sip of tea and have a tea sandwich or maybe a scone, and we will be talking with Alicia shortly, so we'll be right back. We're just popping back in because now we have the food on the table, and we thought y'all might be interested in what we have for lunch for today. So we have the chicken salad croissants, the pimento cheese sandwiches, the cucumber sandwiches, blueberry scones, and then fruit tarts, pettifores, and some macaroons this month instead of the strawberries. And the cheese straws and some fruit. So we have some eating to do, and we'll be back shortly. Hey everybody, we're back with Alicia Bessette to talk about her book, Smile Beach Murder. And we are going to start with a short introduction. Alicia is the best-selling author of Outer Banks Bookshop Mystery Series. Book 1, which was the book we read this month, Smile Beach Murder, was Edgar nominated for the inaugural Lillian Jackson Braun Award by the Mystery Writers of America. Before penning fiction, Bessette worked as a reporter in her home state of Massachusetts, where she won a first-place award from the New England Press Association. Her poetry has appeared in numerous literary magazines. A pianist and editor, she now loves living in Beaufort, South Carolina with her husband. You're in Beaufort, South Carolina now?
I am. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Beaufort is my stomping ground.
You could have come and joined us for tea. I thought you were in the Outer Banks.
Oh, no, we moved back in November. So where are you? Are you guys also in Beaufort right now?
Okay, no. We're in Greenville, South Carolina, but we could have made arrangements.
Yeah, my husband's in Beaufort right now.
Nice.
We're in the same state, so we could have worked that out. The Outer Banks is way out there.
It's far. Yeah.
So are you enjoying Beaufort?
Yeah, I really like living here. It's a very mellow, small city, and just it really sort of fires up my imagination. I mean, the Spanish moss and the beautiful angel oaks and, the iron gates, and I really like it here. Feeling very comfortable.
I imagine you're meeting some of the wonderful literary community in Beaufort.
I'm starting to, yeah. So there's the Pat Conroy Literary Center, which is very active. So it's a writer-friendly city for sure.
Yes. I've had some dear literary friends in Beaufort, and I'm sure you'll be meeting them and enjoy.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Well, let's get started on talking about Alicia's book. We were just talking about cozy mysteries in general. Alicia, a lot of folks in our group enjoy cozy mysteries in addition to women's fiction. And as we were talking about that, I wanted to ask you if you consider your books cozy mysteries or not, and what elements determine that.
Yeah, I definitely consider them cozies. I think there's a spectrum. So you have some cozies that are really light and sweet and funny, and then on the other end of the cozy spectrum, that's probably where my books fall. They're a little darker, not quite so sweet. But I think the the characteristics of a cozy mystery are number one, you have to have an amateur sleuth. So, my heroine, Callie Paget, is not a professional crime solver. She's not a cop. She's not a private investigator. She's just a regular person. She works in the bookshop and she's going about her day trying to figure out who done it. So, most cozy mysteries have that as the central character, someone who's an amateur, not a professional. And they often have really fun jobs like, I don't know, working in a cupcake shop or something like that. Um, and then I think something else that defines the cozy is, of course, like PG-13 rating. So, no explicit sex or violence. It's all sort of implied and off screen. And the language is, kept pretty polite. Although I have read some cozies that have some four-letter words in there. So, sometimes it can slip into R, but usually it's closer to PG.
Right.
Um, and then something else I've noticed too that I think make cozies cozy, the fact that the setting is usually contained. So if you're reading a mystery and you're globetrotting and you're all over the world, in chapter one you're in Zurich and in chapter two you're in Oregon or whatever, you're probably not reading a cozy. Cozies tend to take place in one town or sometimes even a city, and there's not a lot of traveling outside of that place. And I think, in a cozy series, when you return back to that same setting book after book, it really creates this cozy feeling like the
Right.
place becomes a character in and of itself, and you want to return again and again to that place and the people who live there. So those are the things that come to mind when I think about what makes a
Yeah, that,
cozy.
yeah, that setting is a good distinction.
Right, it is. Um, so some of our members have asked. A few of them did. One of them is Lucia Spratt. She asked if you had Ocracoke in mind when you wrote this book, or totally fictitious.
No, I had Ocracoke in mind. So when I think about Cattail, so we're on the Outer Banks, but Cattail, where these books take place, is of course, fictional character on the outer or fictional setting on the Outer Banks. It doesn't really exist. But when I think of Cattail, I kind of picture a combination of Ocracoke and Roanoke Island, specifically the town of Manio. So yeah, that's I hope if you're reading and you think of Ocracoke, then I've done my job. So that's a good question.
Oh, it's a beautiful area. I actually originally am from North Carolina, but not the Outer Banks, more the middle of North Carolina. But I've spent some time in the Outer Banks, and it's
It
beautiful.
is
And
beautiful.
I love Manio and
Yeah.
Ocracoke, and
Yes.
pretty much every place out there is beautiful. It's just a long way out there, isn't it?
My mom's sister and her husband had gorgeous property for a
Mm-hmm.
while on the Outer Banks, just in the middle of nowhere with the wild horses and
Mm-hmm.
conch shells like this that I picked up as a
Oh
child.
yeah,
So beautiful.
It's a beautiful place to set novels for sure.
it is.
So, talk to us for a minute about your process. There are some of our members who had questions about your process, and as you're writing this book, or as you were writing this book,
Mhm.
did you plan it all out in advance, and you knew how it was going to end, or are you sort of the are you a plotter or a pantser, Alicia? Do you
Right.
plan a plot or just start writing?
I'd say I'm more of a plotter. So writers talk about being either plotters or pantsers. You either plan everything out or you fly by the seat of your pants. And I'm definitely more on the plotting side of things. So when I'm writing, I have sticky notes and I stick them all over my wall and I move them around. So I like to get a general idea of who the players are and where they're going. Having said that, I do think, you get the guardrails up, but then sometimes as you're writing, you you crash into the guardrail and you end up in a bush. and you get out of your car and you say, well, maybe I should walk around here and see what's around. So so I am a plotter, but I think that paradoxically that kind of frees me up to follow flights of fancy when that seems to be where my mind wants to go. So, and I knew the ending, or I thought I knew the ending until I got to around page 70, like right around act 2, and then I realized that my villain, at least in this first book, my original villain was not that exciting and I changed it. So, sometimes you think you know the ending, and you really do, and then other times you think you know the ending, but maybe you have to tweak a little bit before you get there. So, but I would say my advice to writers is always whatever works for you. And there's a lot of experimentation that goes on. Some people think that if they can't work from an outline, then they're not a real writer, but I don't believe that. I think if you're a fly by the seat of your pants kind of person, you got to just go with it, because that's what's going to get words on the page.
Right. I think Susan had a question for you.
Oh no, I was just agreeing that one does not have to have an outline
Yeah,
to write a successful novel, or one might have written an outline and by the third chapter never looked at it again.
exactly. Yeah.
But it is your turn to ask a question.
Oh, it is my turn to ask a question. Oh, well, thank you, Susan. My other turn, Susan. Um, I was interested in the parallelism, I guess we'll call it, or the mirroring of the two deaths from the lighthouse. Callie's mother, and then, of course, Eva's, which becomes the mystery and figuring out the who done it. What was your impetus behind that?
Okay,
I
before she answers that, I need to tell Alicia, because I did not warn you, that Susan is a former English teacher. So this is the kind of
Oh,
questions you will get from her.
very nice.
Okay?
Okay, that's
So if
cool.
you need a moment to prepare, that's fine.
No, it's all good. Um, I I liked the idea of giving Callie some kind of like trauma with a lowercase t. Something in her past that happened that was deeply important that maybe she never really confronted. And but it was important to me also to not go too heavy, because it is cozy, and I didn't want readers to be, too sad for Callie, or too weighed down by her trauma history. So
Sure.
that's what I was thinking when I gave Callie this tragedy from her past. I liked the idea of having, like you said, the parallel storyline where the current events are sort of pulling her into her past, and making her confront, or
Right. Yeah.
heal what she was never really able to heal.
Gotcha.
So it's like current day and past kind of meet together and push her forward. So that's kind of where I was coming from.
Facing her demons, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So
Okay.
I'm really interested in psychology, so that I think that kind of came through when I was creating the character of Callie.
So Kelly has a similar background to you, right? In the news area.
Yeah.
How much of you is actually in Cali?
She's not me, but, we do have a lot in common. So, she's a bit of a health nut. I'm a bit of a health nut. I drink my green kale smoothie every day. I just had mine, just like Callie does in the book. She likes to run. I used to like to run. I don't run so much anymore, but when I was writing this, I was a big runner. And of course, she has her newspaper background. So she worked at a large daily urban newspaper. My experience was never that intense. I worked at a small suburban weekly, so I think her newspaper experience was probably a lot more stressful and hectic than anything I ever had to deal with. Um, but I think Callie is braver than I am. I think the beauty of fiction, especially escapist fiction, which is what I consider myself a writer of escapist fiction. And I think the beauty is that these characters allow us to live vicariously through them. So, in my real life, I can't go out chasing after bad guys, but I get to sit in a room and, create this character who does that, and then readers get to go along on the adventure. So I think those are the similarities and differences between me and Callie.
Okay.
Were you a child who liked treasure hunts?
Oh yeah, scavenger hunt. I was all about that. I spent a lot of
Okay.
time just roaming around in the woods behind my parents' house, talking to trees and
Yes. There's quite an intricate set of clues in the novel.
yes. So the inspiration for that came. I was reading a local news story when I lived on the Outer Banks, and it was sort of a like a fluff piece, human interest feel good piece. And it was about a woman of retirement age, and she was on vacation in Nag's Head. She was walking down the beach one morning, and something washed up at her feet in the surf, and she fished it out of the surf. And it was a message in a bottle, and it was still intact. So she pulled out this little note, and it was legible, and it was dated, 1983 or something, and it was little kid handwriting, and it said, "Hello, my name is Michael. I'm 8 years old. I live in some whatever town in Pennsylvania. I want to be a police officer when I grow up. Please write me back."
Oh,
So,
oh my goodness.
so this woman went back to her rental cottage and got right on Facebook, as one does. And within a few days, she was able to track down this guy who wrote this letter back when he was 8 years old. And of course, now he's an adult. He's in his 40s. He still lives in Pennsylvania. He did achieve his dream of becoming a police officer. And so this
Wow.
woman and this man struck up sort of a pen pal ship, correspondence. And that's what the article was about, their blossoming friendship. And I just thought there was such magic in that. Just the idea that this piece of communication that's, 40 years old or something has its own fate, and it traveled through space and time and landed at this specific person's feet at a specific moment. And I don't know, there was just magic in that. So that is what inspired the whole treasure hunt piece of Smile Beach Murder. Of course, in the book, it's not technically a message in a bottle, but it's a message in a vial.
That's
So
right. It's a
Right,
message
right.
in the house.
Okay. That's interesting.
It
Yeah.
is. It really is.
So, um, let's see. What else do we have here? Let's see. Were any of the characters or part of the plot line inspired by your personal life experience?
well, that I mean, I kind of answered that in the
Yeah.
previous, but
Yeah.
something else I can talk about too is I took a tour of Body Island Lighthouse when I first moved to the Outer Banks. And if anyone knows Body Island Lighthouse, it's in South Nags Head, and it's black and white striped, horizontal stripes. It's really
Mhm.
striking and beautiful, and it's tall. There are no coastal cliffs in North Carolina, so they have to build their lighthouses really tall. So I took this tour, and you wind all the way up to the top, and I'm standing at the very top, and I'm looking out at all the water and just how gorgeous, panoramic views, and it's just absolutely stunning. And I was just so excited that this is my home now. And then I had this really dark thought, and I'm sure I'm not the first person to think this thought at the top of a at the top of a tall structure, but I thought, man, if something were to go awry up here, like 200 feet, that's a long, I mean, 8 stories, that's a long way to drop. So I'm thinking this, and I'm kind of like backing away from the railing and, pressing my back up to the edge of the lighthouse. And then I thought, well, that kind of felt like something a mystery writer would file away in
Mhm.
the back of her mind, like tragedy at a lighthouse. Maybe I could pull that in, and I did eventually
That's
in
right.
in this. So
And Kelly has that same sensation. She gets vertigo, doesn't she, when she's close to the railing and has the impulse to fly out, and of course backs off. And there is
that's
that
right.
too.
That's right.
So Neil Sparinger had a comment about your green bean casserole usage. Apparently, she was there for that. And on a more serious note, she asked, did you take self-defense classes
Mm.
like Callie did in the book?
So the green bean casserole, I think I was just looking for something, not very savory. I did actually make a green bean casserole once for Thanksgiving dinner, and it was not like the green bean casserole in the book was like, Funyuns and like a can of Campbell's soup or something.
Mhm.
And the one that I made in real life was, I think it was from Cooks Illustrated magazine. Like it was fancy and it took me all
Right.
day. And I presented it at Thanksgiving, and I was the only person who ate it. So there was this big, huge, beautiful casserole with like a tiny little scoop, and no one else ate it. So that might be why I picked green bean
That
casserole.
happens to me every year. I spend hours making green bean casserole. I mean, and mine's a Southern Living recipe that I have. Well, it started out as a Southern Living recipe a long time ago, and I have tweaked and added and tweaked and added and tweaked and added and changed, and now it's my recipe, and I love it. But I only make it once a year on Thanksgiving, and my sister eats a small scoop, and I eat some, and everybody else has like a little tiny bit, just so I don't get my feelings hurt, I guess. But they don't really, they're not there for the green bean casserole, but I love it.
And I've
I
only
do
made
too.
the old traditional kind with the those
Mhm.
cans of onions on top. Though I'm a pretty good cook, but I've never made a real green bean casserole.
Well,
But I'm not going to do it now since y'all tell me that I can eat it at Thanksgiving.
well, you can save it and eat it for yourself.
Well, that's true.
You know, I should, we should freeze ours, Alicia, in small portions.
Mhm.
I
And
like this
And
idea.
enjoy.
okay, so about the self-defense class, did you have that?
No, I've never taken self-defense. I'm always looking for an opportunity. I'm sure it's something I will do at some point in my life. I am a big fan of action movies and martial arts movies and kung fu movies. So I'm an admirer of all different kinds of martial arts. Um, I liked the idea of giving Callie a way to protect herself, and I wanted Toby. Her love interest is Toby, and he of course is a karate instructor, and he wants her to learn how to be able to defend herself should she get herself into trouble. And so Toby teaches her these self-defense moves, and I spent a couple of days on YouTube, which is YouTube is just it's such a I mean, it's a great treasure trove of information, but the rabbit holes are just they can be really
Yeah.
dangerous. But I found a lot of really interesting videos on YouTube that explained, they were targeted, toward women. How can a woman defend herself if she finds herself in a scary situation? And I studied these videos, and my husband was my guinea pig. So I would pause the video and call him over and be like, grab my arm like this, and I'm going to try to break away. So he helped me research, but that's how I pulled in the self defense piece in Smile Beach Murder. And if you enjoy that, it continues in Murder on Mustang Beach. So
Okay. So, Kathy Wagner, okay, now if everybody should know, because we try to make a big deal of this, that we're discussing the books all month long in the group. And if we're discussing the groups, or especially in the interview, there will be spoilers. So if anybody has not read the book, turn the video off now because there's about to be a spoiler. Kathy Wagner asked, I was wondering why Alicia chose Jeff to be the killer. I'll admit I didn't see that coming.
well, I did mention when we first started talking that I thought my original killer was kind of boring, and now I can't even remember who it was. But so I got to page 70 in my first draft, and I switched everything up, and I decided it was going to be Jeff. And um, to be honest, I don't really remember how I arrived at that. I think I just wanted to be surprised. And there's that old quote, I don't even know who said it, but no surprise in the writer, no surprise in the reader. So I surprised myself, and I thought, well, maybe this will be surprising for readers when they get to the end. So
Pardon me. I think you achieved that. Yes. It sounds like Kathy was surprised, and actually, I wasn't expecting it. I don't guess. I believe I've taken your turn. It's your
Oh, no,
turn.
no, no. I'm enjoying listening, and I'm just enjoying listening. I
Okay.
don't know that I have any further
Oh,
questions.
okay. All right. I have a list.
Okay.
I thought I gave you a copy of this list.
Well,
Never
You probably did, and it's sitting there.
Okay, all right. I just didn't want to appear to be
Okay.
taking, no, sit still. I'm messing with you. I'm just kidding. Okay, so Betsy Dugan says, I saw your reference to Kate Carlisle and wondered if she is a favorite of yours. She is one of mine, and of course, I love Kate's books too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I love Kate's books. Shannon Hammer and Brooklyn Wainwright, both of those series. Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Okay.
They're so funny too. I try to write funny and it doesn't work, but Kate Carlisle just seems to achieve that effortlessly.
Let's see, where are we? Oh, now a number of people asked the question. Joan, Maria, Sandy, Gwen, and many others want to know when will the next book come out? We're definitely interested in some more from Callie and Toby.
Oh, I appreciate that so much. It turns out it's going to be a two-book series. My agent said the sales were great. He doesn't know why my publisher decided to go in a different direction, but they did. So we just have book one, book one, and book two, and that's it. So unfortunately, no more in the series, but we'll always have these two. So that's a good thing.
Okay, all right. So what are you working on now?
I'm going in a new direction. It's still a mystery. It's not very cozy. It's darker and a little more intense. So yeah, I'm busy writing away, and we'll
Now,
see.
are you
We'll see what
drawn to that
happens.
type of book? Is that what you read, the darker books?
I think so. Yeah, I would say so. I've started out reading Lillian Jackson Braun's Cat Who mysteries when I was in middle school, and
Mhm.
then that sort of led me to Agatha Christie, and then from there I branched out into like Nevada Barr and more of the thrillery, adventure-y side of mysteries. So yeah, I'm a big mystery slash thriller fan from way back. And of course, Mary Higgins Clark. I went through a big Mary Higgins Clark phase. So
Right.
Will you keep the same sort of coastal setting, do you think?
yeah,
Yes.
the current book that I'm working on now is set in Beaufort, South Carolina, my new hometown. So I hope to do it justice.
Well, it'll be easy to do research there since you live
That's
there.
right.
Yes,
Yeah.
just walk
Okay.
down the street.
Alicia, is there anything else that we should know that we haven't asked you?
Um, Nothing is really coming to mind. I think you've done such a lovely job of, you know, asking me questions. I was wondering, I should have probably asked you this before we started recording, but can we do a contest where I give away a copy of Murder on Mustang Beach to one lucky person in the comments?
Absolutely. We always
Oh,
love
we love
giveaways.
giveaways.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, so all you have to do is write a comment under this video and live in the United States, and I will pick a winner at random and send you a signed, beautiful hardback copy of book two, Murder on Mustang Beach.
That's wonderful. And for members of the Lowcountry Book Club, just know that this is an additional giveaway this month. We have a giveaway every month. We do what we call a door prize giveaway. And so someone who's participated in the discussion about the book, either in comments on the video or somewhere else in the group, in some way participated, we do a drawing for a door prize giveaway, and they basically choose their own prize because presumably they've already read the book of the month. But in any case, this is an additional
Nice.
giveaway, and we are very happy about that. All right.
Great.
Well,
This
thank
is her book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you joining us. Thank you for answering all of our questions. And we look forward to your new project when it's out.
Oh my gosh, thank you both, Susan and Susan. This was just delightful. I really appreciate you having me.
Well, pleasure
You're
to
quite
meet
welcome.
you.
It's
Best
very
of luck
lovely
in
to meet you.
Beaufort.
And we
Thank
maybe we'll
you.
run into you now that you're a South Carolinian. You
That's
never know,
right.
our paths may cross. I hope so.
Definitely. I would love that.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.